What's up, everyone? Welcome to Pat's Chat. I'm Doug Kyed, joined as always by Michael Hurley. We are a proud member of the CLNS Media Network. Make sure to hit subscribe on the Patriots Press Pass channel, on Pat's Chat. Do all that stuff on the podcast apps too, and turn on notifications for when a new video drops on the YouTube channel. Michael, I'm not sure if you're aware of this. The Patriots are headed to the AFC Championship Game in Denver, Colorado, next Sunday, 3 p.m. It's amazing though, because I think we predicted this exactly in our preseason podcast.
We did. You don't check it, but we did. But yeah, no, quick correction.
Don't listen back.
Quick correction. The Patriots are going to the Super Bowl, Doug. I'm willing to put my neck out there on that. Those were the stakes heading into today. You have a team with a career backup waiting for you if you can win. And the Patriots did not play, I don't think, their best game, but they won the game. They're going to that AFC Championship game, and they should be going to the Super Bowl, which is nuts. I think that's stories number 1, 2, 3, and 4, maybe 5. Realistically, they're going to go to the Super Bowl unless they really beef it next week in Denver, and that's insane to me.
It is insane. We'll get to that when we get to that.
I know, but you know what I mean? Like that's the I want to start with that, where it's like we're going to get into all the nitty gritty and the details, but it's like, you got to be kidding me, right? Like
no, it's crazy. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if that actually comes true. Because the Patriots are 5.5 favorites?
5.5.
So that's pretty significant for a road team in the AFC Championship game.
In a place where there is a home field advantage. I know the Bills might have been favored there too. So there was a little bit, it was like 1.5 too. So there is a little bit of doubt, but I mean, the Patriots dealt with that at home. They were only 3-point favorites against the Texans, and they're going out there. But I just think, because I don't want to send the wrong message, because we're going to get into the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, a lot of takeaways. And it's just like, big picture, you got to be kidding. If we did an August podcast and I was like, Doug, in my heart of hearts, I think the Patriots are going to go to the Super Bowl this year, you would have been like, you know what? Pat's Chat had a good run. I liked Mike, but it's stupid. It's a waste of time now. It's dumb. And now here you are. So I don't know. It's crazy. It's truly crazy. Today was crazy.
Shout out to Taylor Kyles, though, our colleague here at CLNS.
What did he have, 12 or 13? I think did
predict them for 13 or 14 wins.
Yeah. And now it's funny because again, this is for another day, but like if we were to lay out our win expectations for next year, it might be like 9.
I know,
but that doesn't really matter today. And I think you
yelled at me a couple of weeks ago for talking about next year's schedule. So
I know. But
what the hell are you doing? Stop it.
Just to put just to wrap this up before we get into the game, because people are going to say easy schedule, blah, blah, blah. Then you had perennial choker, Justin Herbert. Then you had, the Texans. And then you had Jared Stidham in the championship game, blah, blah, blah. At this point, truly, it doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't matter at this point. And I think the Rams, the 99 Rams having the easiest schedule prior to this, you know what they have is a Super Bowl banner. Well, they don't have a football team anymore, but they have a banner somewhere in an abandoned stadium in St. Louis that will fly forever. And I just think at this point, the details really don't matter. Like you're trying to win a championship.
No, I think there's a real conversation to be had about them, about the schedule and about this team that I want to have later in the podcast.
Okay.
But as you mentioned, it doesn't matter because this team has now made it further than the Bills, the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Steelers, the Ravens, the Texans, the Jaguars, the Chargers, the Eagles, the Packers, the 49ers, and the Bears. Drake May has, everyone has. The team has made it further than all those teams. So that is truly all that matters at this point. You can't really say cupcake schedule now that they've beaten the Chargers and the Texans. I mean, we saw the graphic over and over and over again of all 5 analysts on ESPN Live.
A lot of them,
picking the Texans. So yes, the Patriots were favored, but there were legitimately smart people who thought the Patriots were going to lose this game. The Patriots took notice of that. My first big takeaway from this game.
First take.
My first big takeaway.
First take.
I think that's the next ESPN show is going to be called First Big Takeaway. It's a gorgeous
silly
hat
got
on there.
We do silly hat.
I think we now have reason to believe that when fully healthy, the Patriots defense does belong in the conversation of best in the NFL.
Yeah.
And it feels kind of nuts to say that, but they've now outplayed the Chargers defense in the wild card round, and they have outplayed the Texans defense, which everyone considered the best defense in the NFL. And granted, the strength of competition between Drake May and CJ Stroud has a gap. And I don't know if everyone would have said that about Drake May and Justin Herbert in the wild card round, just based on the history and the resume there. So maybe the Patriots defense set slightly easier than those teams, but they've outplayed them now in consecutive weeks. And I mean, both those teams, the Texans and the Chargers, especially the quarterbacks, Justin Herbert and CJ Stroud, have looked absolutely, dare I say, frazzled against the Patriots defense in consecutive weeks. They're taking the ball away. They're providing pressure. They, like your prediction about Woody Marks going for 100 yards looked.
Did he get 100? I was losing track.
It looked downright foolish.
100 inches.
Sorry to say it.
He might have had 100 inches. The run defense was unbelievable. He had 17 yards.
And it was good last week too. It's been good basically every single week that Milton Williams has been on the field. And then you could throw in Robert Spillane and Khyiris Tonga as well. Every week that Milton Williams has been on the field, the Patriots' run defense is basically like the best in the universe right now, which will be big against the Broncos. And if they make it to the Super Bowl against either one of those teams. But yeah, they belong in the conversation. And there's not one distinct element about the defense outside of maybe the run defense. Like they don't have Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. Sure. They don't have Derwin James. They don't have like that one big Legion of Boom sticking point to their defense. And as we get into this weekend, possibly weeks ahead, I don't think people are going to be like, oh, the 2025 Patriots in the same way that they've talked about the 85 Bears, the Legion of Boom Seahawks, and all those types of things. Yeah. But I think they've warranted it over these last 2 weeks against legitimate quarterbacks, legitimate offenses.
Yeah. And what stuck out to me, because, you mentioned Milton Williams. I think Christian Gonzalez, was super involved today in a different way than you might have expected, getting his nose dirty, diving in, making tackles, stripping balls out. I know one didn't count, but there were two things on the broadcast that stuck out, and we've talked about this before. Carlton Davis not having a pick all year, and then having two insane toe tap. Well, one was a knee tap, and then the other like a backwards double toe tap while falling out. And that type of play from a guy who I heard a number of calls to the radio this week, like complaining about him. And I think the Pats chat had a good Carlton Davis take steadily throughout. Yeah. And then the other thing was they're like, that was Khyiris Tonga's first sack of the year. I would have never in a million years, if you had asked me, does Tonga have a sack this year? I'd be like, obviously he must have a couple because he's been so impactful in just getting into the backfield. So just that added sort of, it's the layers. I think it's the layers of the defense. And it's not, like the Texans defense is better than the Patriots defense, right? But the way that they're playing and the way that they're sort of unifying and honestly, it reminds me in a way, it's so much more simple to play with your front seven when you don't have to worry about your secondary.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Those guys are allowed to play so much freer, faster, harder when they're not worried about a guy breaking free. It makes things so much simpler. And so that's a big testament to what they're doing on the outside with Gonzalez and Davis. But it's also just the safety play has been the biggest surprise. Like the solid play of both safeties. And I know Woodson got cracked and somehow survived on his interception return that wasn't. It's just been so steady that I just think if you start with that shell on the outside, those front seven guys are just firing. And it's just, you see the results.
Good point here from our buddy Coley Mick. Patriots have not lost when Christian Gonzalez and Milton Williams have both been active. Raiders and Steelers losses. Christian Gonzalez was still out with a hamstring injury, and Milton Williams was not playing in that Bills game. So, yeah, the defense right now is outplaying the offense. And granted, once again, you do have to talk about strength of competition there.
Mhm.
where the defenses that they're facing are better than the offenses.
Mhm.
But that does lead me to my next point.
You're just firing. Second take. This is called second take.
This is called Second Take. It's going to be a sequel to First Take.
Nice.
I'm not that concerned about Drake May in the offense.
Okay.
So, and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
In 2 straight games now,
Mm-hmm.
Drake May has outplayed the opposing quarterback. He outplayed
Sure.
Justin Herbert and he outplayed CJ Stroud pretty
Really?
significantly in both games, I would say.
And, while you can take things on balance, like the second halves of both games, really good.
Yes. So, and once again, we're talking about strength of competition.
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm.
So Drake May is technically, based on season-long stats, going up against better defenses
Mhm.
in the Chargers and Texans than Herbert and Stroud faced in the Patriots defense.
Mhm.
And he's playing better than those guys. And they've won both those games. And what happens when you play really freaking good defenses?
It's hard.
Your quarterback doesn't look that great. Like, that's why the defenses are good. So, would you like to see Drake May fumble fewer times than, what was it today, 3 or 4?
4.
4. Yes, 1000%. You don't want to see him fumble 4 times.
A few too many fumbles, if you ask me.
Yes. Turn the ball over twice. He had well, 3 times because the interception, but the interception was a Hail Mary. That barely counts.
Doesn't count.
But 4 fumbles is 4 fumbles because we were mocking CJ Stroud for 5 fumbles the week before.
Mm-hmm.
4 is really, in the grand scheme of things, not that many fewer than 5.
It's technically just 1 fewer.
Good math there off the top of your head.
Yeah.
So would you like to see fewer fumbles? 1000%. Would you like to see the Patriots offense playing better? 1000%. Have they come away with wins? Yes. Has he outplayed the competition at quarterback? Yes. That's why I'm just not that concerned, because he might struggle again. He's going up against another really good defense against the Broncos.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He sure is. I think
we've seen Drake May for an entire season. Like, there's no way you can come away from these games and be like, oh, Drake May sucks now. Now I think Drake May sucks.
No, and some people do. We saw a tweet. You talk about smart people. Bill Barnwell saying after seeing May and Stafford play, it's time to get rid of the MVP. It's like he will, for what it's worth. You talk about strength of schedule. Should the Patriots advance to the Super Bowl and everyone focuses on their opponent, that'll be 3 of the top 5 defenses that they had to go through to get. And was it unbelievable? No, but the kid made plays. There were plays.
Did you just say 3 of the top 5, including the Broncos? Because if they wind up playing the Seahawks,
that's 4 of the top 5. I just mean getting there. I didn't. We're not doing the Super Bowl yet. We got a few weeks. But I mean, that is legit. And I think when it comes to it, I might be arguing semantics, maybe not, because you said not concerned, and then you brought up the fumbles. To me, the fumbles are a major concern, in the sense that after last week, and knowing the pass rush that was coming, to still have a little bit of an internal clock problem was a concern. And I think there was a lot of hate, like probably, and I know I hate when we do this, but we are what we are. Twitter hate toward Will Campbell today was off the charts. And I just think there was the one strip sack that, sure, it was his fault. I think Drake May held onto the ball too long. I think it was too long of a time. When you know what's out there and you know what you're up against, it's got to come out quicker. And there's that sort of urgency. But at the same time, standing in there and delivering is also what has made him arguably the MVP of the league. So it's a tricky balance. I just think you don't want to change too much based on the opponent, but I think it's two-pronged. It's May and it's also McDaniels. I don't think they were as focused on getting it out quickly. I think they sort of just believed nothing bad would happen. And collectively, that will catch up to you. You fumble 4 times, you're going to lose a game that you shouldn't. So that is the concern. Going to Denver, Stidham might go 6 for 30, and you could still lose if you fumble 4 times again. And I think that's got to be the concern. Even the fumble they recovered, you lose 20 yards, it's back on your 4-yard line, and you're punting from the back of your end zone. It's bad football. And I think it is a real concern, and it is probably, I think, the only way you lose in Denver is if you treat the football like crap again.
The good news is, going against the Denver pass rush should feel like a cakewalk. compared to going up against Will
but don't you
Anderson
think
and
the silent count on the road is going to be sort of a mitigating factor?
Yeah,
Because
the
Patriots lost an AFC Championship game there because second year Brian Stork head bobbed every snap right before it, and it was DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller, right? Just every snap, just killing.
To be
Tom
fair,
Brady.
I think he was Steven Jackson was also the running back, and Austin Collie was a primary wide receiver.
And it went to freaking overtime. Almost went to overtime if they could have got the 2-point conversion. But either way,
Andrew Callahan, my colleague, was like, "Oh, did you think they were going to win that game?" I was like, "I don't think so."
Anytime Tom Brady's in a game and Peyton Manning literally can't throw, that's actually a pretty good example or a good reminder. Peyton Manning had no arm in 2015.
Right.
And the Broncos on defense and with the home crowd were able to win. So as much as I said during the Super Bowl, like they still, I think that is the biggest challenge. I think they should be fine against it, but that to me is still a concern.
I also honestly, genuinely think that you cannot count on Justin Herbert playing as poorly as you cannot count on Jarrett Stidham playing as poorly as Justin Herbert and CJ Stroud did in the past 2 games. Sure, the defense might force it anyway, because I think that a lot of that is the defense and how they're playing.
You're saying he won't like beef it and choke and poop it up?
Well, he might, but like Herbert and Stroud did to such a gigantic factor, such a comical factor, that I don't think that you can count on Stidham throwing 4 interceptions. I think they will.
I mean, Sean Payton's going to simplify.
Conservative with them.
They're going to simplify the game, and they're going to. But ultimately, he's going to have to make some 3rd and 7 passes, and that's where you should be in a good spot. But I think you're right. I think a lot of running, a lot of simplified plays, but this is another. I would say the top concern today was the fumbles. The second concern, I think the Patriots are a little drunk on blitzing. And they gave up a touchdown, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, whatever, against a mid offense without Nico Collins, without Dalton Schultz at that point. And you're blitzing 7 and leaving 5'5" Marcus Jones against Christian Kirk just running a simple route.
Right.
And it's like he was there, but he's not big enough.
Yeah.
And they did that a lot. And if I'm going to give Stroud credit for doing anything well in this game, he did a good job of exploiting blitzes sometimes.
Yeah, he wasn't terrible against the blitz heading into this game.
Even the first series, he threw to Kirk in that in the slot, a little like stop route, like 6 yards wide open. He dropped it. They hit that later against the blitz. Like anytime Jones came out off the slot, they just hit it's just unnecessary. I think they have the personnel to D up on these guys. And for whatever reason, they went as drunk with the blitz against the Texans as they did against the Chargers. And I felt it was really unnecessary. You would think, right? You wouldn't do that against Stidham.
Right.
However, it's up to them.
Yeah, I don't think you necessarily need to, at least to begin the game.
I'm not a nerd, so I don't have a blitz rate number for you for what they did today, but it felt like way too much. It was probably over 40%. I think last week it was 46%. It felt comparable today, and it really felt unnecessary.
You know what? I might take that back, because the Broncos' offensive line is really good. So to get pressure on Stidham, you might need to blitz him. And there is a lot of trust in the secondary. You might not need to do it as much, but with the front 4 the way it is, and after playing the Chargers and Texans, I don't know if you can count on the front 4 getting to Stidham without blitzing. But let's talk more about this game. Did you see Will Anderson's quote about CJ Stroud after the game?
1 second. I believe this must be Evan Lazar. And I'm not calling our buddy Evan a nerd at all, but who else would have written this on Patriots.com? It says that the Patriots blitzed at a 46.2%
that's
rate.
high.
That's too high against the quarterback who's not very good without talented receivers.
Right.
Anyways, the question you just asked me was, did I see Will Anderson's quote about CJ Stroud?
CJ Stroud, yes.
Where he said I told him he's the best in the league and all that?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you want the guy to say?
Not that.
Yeah, no, like there were legitimate conversations, and I think the ESPN halftime crew might have discussed it. It was hard to tell. Ryan Clark was really passionate about something. I'm not sure what it was, but it felt like the topic was broached, like, do you bench CJ Stroud? And I would have. Like, I don't think Davis Mills would have played as poorly as CJ Stroud did today.
And I think the Texans were fortunate that CJ Stroud did not turn the ball over in the second half. So ultimately, I think like franchise-wide future considering, the right move to not bench your franchise quarterback in a game you were probably going to lose anyway.
Sure.
But there was a strong ass case to bench him with 4 interceptions. And after 5 fumbles last week, I don't know, like maybe he bounces back next year and figures out what he had as a rookie, but you can't have any faith whatsoever in CJ Stroud next season and moving forward.
And even it's a point I tried to make last week because everyone was a little like, was that a one-off by Stroud? And it's his rookie year. They won a playoff game. Do you know who they beat?
No.
The Cleveland Browns. And then last year they won the game when Justin Herbert threw 4 interceptions.
Right.
So, and they won against the Steelers when he had 5 fumbles. So it's like he is not a playoff performer despite 3 wins, and he's now 3-3. I don't know. It's going the wrong way for him. I don't know how you fix it. It's
ever since he gave Caleb Williams the attaboy. Keep your head up.
Luckily for him, Caleb threw an overtime interception, so that video won't go super viral tonight. But
that one might have been on DJ Moore.
It's just still. I don't. This is not Bears chat. Caleb Williams standing still in the pocket does nothing for me. Like, I would never want that to be the case if I was Ben Johnson. I would want him on the move doing cool athletic stuff.
Do you want him to run full speed backwards 30 yards?
Yes. The fadeaway 50-yarder. Sick.
I mean, watching that live.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, like, what the hell are you doing? That was the craziest thing I've ever seen a quarterback do.
That was one of the craziest.
Was just run. So I play this Roblox game, 99 Nights in the Forest, with my daughter Olivia, and I have to play it on my keyboard because I have it on a laptop.
I was going to call you a nerd, but then you said it was with your daughter Olivia, and I'm out on that.
And
I'm out on calling you a nerd.
On my keyboard, I have to play it on my laptop, so on my keyboard, like, the controls don't work as well. So if there's a wolf chasing after me, I just have to run really, 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 really fast, and then flip around and then start like shooting it. That's basically what Caleb Williams did, was run backwards as fast as he could.
Yeah.
And then just to give himself the tiniest amount of time to get rid of the ball. Hey, it worked. But
I used to do that. I used to do that on Joe Montana Sports Talk Football on the Sega Genesis. You could do that all day.
Chicago chat.
I can bring it back to Pat's chat and talk about some of the craziest, greatest things we've ever seen. I'm willing to say it, and you can argue with me till the cows come home. Kayshon Boutte's touchdown catch was probably one of the 10 best catches I've ever seen in my life. If you factor in all of the things, the defender he's going
against an all-pro,
the fact that he's going against an all-pro in a tight playoff game, and the throw was overthrown. Like, it wasn't like he set up his defender and kind of reached out. Like, that was 100%, 1000% necessary for him to go with the one hand. And it's like, was Odell Beckham Jr.'s catch better? Sure. Was that a week 7 game that the Giants lost? Yes. Like, I think if you factor in all those things, Kayshon Boutte's catch was one of the best I've ever seen, and probably one of the best in Patriots history. Prove me wrong.
I think we're underrating the Stephon Diggs and Kayshon Boutte factor, even in Drake May's success this year, because those are 2 guys who just simply make catches that you should not be able to make. So you talk about completion percentage over expected with Drake May, and he deserves 90% of the credit. Like, give a fraction of a number, and that's how much he deserves. But you also have to factor in receiver play in completion percentage over expected. And quite honestly, the Diggs touchdown probably should not have been completed either. But
unbelievable catch.
Diggs has these like superhuman strong hands where he can catch that ball and bring it down and not let go of it, despite the fact that there are people just like hitting him and chopping at him to drop that pass.
Did you see his celebration?
I didn't actually.
He just stared at his hands. He pulled the, what are these? What hath God given me? But that you're right. And it's one of those things you don't quantify actively. Right. But when a quarterback,
Boutte's ability to catch up to a pass and just catch it like that, the Patriots have not had wide receivers like that. Obviously, Edelman was fantastic, and he made the greatest catch of all time against the Falcons.
Yeah.
Obviously, Welker and Amendola and Troy, all those
Gronkowski made
guys,
insane catches.
Gronkowski made insane catches, but I don't know. There's like a factor to both of those guys where they just don't miss on those plays. And then you look at a guy like Kyle Williams, and not to trash a rookie, but like that incompletion to Kyle Williams probably would have been completed to Diggs or Booty just because they consistently make those catches.
I would have to talk to Todd Downing, so I don't want to speak perfectly, but watching the replay of that, Williams, I think it was a route issue because Williams beat his man and then broke straight up the sideline, and it looked like May threw it more like a fade toward the boundary, and so Williams had to kind of reach around his own head to try to catch it, whereas if he had rounded his route a little like a fade, it would have been right in the money probably for a touchdown. But I think the point about Diggs' touchdown especially, and what I was saying where you don't actively quantify it, is you see it all the time. A quarterback throws a pass right in the money and someone just doesn't catch it, and it's for various reasons. Had Diggs not caught that, I don't think we'd sit here and be like, man, he's got to grab that. Right. It was sort of an elite hand situation where there's a defender.
Definitely not with Booty's catch,
defending it well. I'm just meaning with Diggs because it was like, it was a tight window throw and it was awesome. It was ripped. Yeah. But it's like still the second part of that equation is still really difficult. And I don't know how many guys in the league make that touchdown catch. And without those two catches and a 12-point win, what are we talking about? You know, it's that significant. So I think you're right to give them that proper shine when we all do quarterback. Right. It does take two for these things to work.
Yeah, no, 100%. And May definitely did not play his best game. We've gone over it, and we'll probably go over it again in the future.
He was dirting balls. He was just dirting it. And it was like, who's that guy?
Yeah. And I mean, this is what happens against really good defenses. And he didn't play a ton of them this season, which probably did inflate his numbers a little bit, but we also still know how good he is, how good
I think it was it Vrabel at the podium, or was it like a walk-off interview? I forget. I think it was the podium. He was asked about Drake and just say like, I don't remember the exact question, but his answer, Vrabel, was like, he didn't get in the blender. He didn't get thrown in the blender, which is hard to do. And I think given the way you've seen some quarterbacks in the playoffs this year, I mean, sometimes you get in the blender and you can't get out. So for all of May's mistakes and the fact that, again, the fumbling was an issue, doesn't seem to affect him. Like, he's so stoic's probably the wrong word, but just unaffected by anything.
Yeah.
Good and bad.
So we're going to get into our booms and dooms after we talk about prospects, but did you have any other immediate notes that you wanted to get to first?
Immediate notes. I almost did a me thing and said something that's like real deep in the weeds. I'm going to save it. But yeah, no, I think the opening, I think we got it covered.
Because we got a lot more to talk about. But first, I did want to talk about Prize Picks, because this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. And whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard. But in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops. And Prize Picks lets you take control. So, Michael.
Yeah.
It feels good to be right, which we knew in week 18, but now we are in a second straight week of not feeling that feeling, because I did a Prize Picks lineup with Drake May more than a half a touchdown, Ramondre Stevenson more than 36.5 rushing yards, Woody Marks less than 56.5 rushing yards, which all hit. But I did also have Stephon Diggs more than 48.5 receiving yards.
He had 40.
Which did not hit. He only had 40. And then you, or me and you.
Yeah, us.
Us, the collective us.
There's no I in team.
Had CJ Stroud more than half an interception. We should get extra credit for that one since he threw 8 times that amount.
Yeah. Shout out to us.
We had Will Anderson more than half a sack, which we should get extra credit for because he had 6 times that amount. But we also had Woody Marks more than 16 rushing attempts. He only had 14. And we had Robert Spillane, 6.5 tackles and assists, more than that.
He had 6.
6.
Dang.
So that didn't hit. Those didn't hit, but we'll get you next week. We can't make any promises.
Yeah.
But who would we be if we didn't have confidence in our picks next week?
It was a
couple of losers.
A fascinating game on the statistical end, and Woody Marks being completely useless was probably my biggest whiff, maybe of the season. So what are you gonna do? Things happen. I'm sorry.
Well, if you download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS, you get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Let's do some booms and dooms.
Let me first apologize to you and to the listeners. And It's your fault, Doug. It's your fault. First of all, I turned my light on. I felt
that's not the way apologies work.
It's your fault because you're making so much sense and I'm agreeing so much. I have found myself at least 12 times tonight saying, while you talk. And it's like, buddy, shut up. So if you're listening and you're like, what is wrong with this guy? I agree. And I'm going to work on it. And if Doug makes a good point, what I'm going to do is off mic, make a mental note, like good point by Doug. And I'm not going to go, So apology all set. Doug's fault, but I still apologize on behalf of both of us.
I put a note. I follow a script for this podcast. Everything that I say is scripted. So I have a top note that says, avoid the word like, because I do find myself saying like too much.
Same.
I don't know if I've been doing it. I don't know if I've been following my script, but hopefully I haven't been saying like a bunch.
It's tough because you could be making a great point and then like you sound like you're going to like a party and like it's going to be like so fun. There's going to be like so many people there. It's going to be like so fun.
We're not discriminatory.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm working on that too. I think we all want to identify our strengths and weaknesses. And you know what is a segment we do that focuses on strengths and weaknesses?
Boom.
It's the booms and dooms. Can I start? Sure. And this is what I was going to say. It is the sneakiest of sneaky booms. Okay.
Oh man.
And I want to start here. No bullshit. Ready? The Patriots punting unit.
Jesus Christ.
Because they punted the ball 8 times. And in this game, like you saw all the fumbles. You saw what that can do if Will Campbell didn't jump on that ball at the 4, you're giving up points, et cetera, et cetera. One mishap where you give up a blocked punt. The whole game could have gone kablooey. So 8 punts, it requires a lot of focus on the punt team. I'm not kidding. I give that punt team kudos for taking care of their business.
Fair. Are you saying that Jeremy Springer should start getting head coaching interviews?
Probably. Well, I know that everyone seems to be, but I would add in, if you want to be more normal and not a weirdo, the whole special teams unit, because Marcus Jones had a pretty big punt return. He had 2 pretty good punt returns, and I think in a game where offense is hard to find, heck of a game for Marcus Jones. He's probably going to land on the booms individually, but give the whole punt return unit credit.
So my first boom is going to be for the grounds crew. I think they did a really good job in this game. I was making fun of you for throwing in the punting as your first boom.
I was staying silent, so I didn't do my just so you know.
So my first boom is Carlton Davis. Sure. I know it wasn't perfect. He had 3 penalties in this game. He had 2 pass interference penalties and 1 face mask penalty. I thought the face mask was a little ticky-tack, but you got a little bit of it.
I think that was fair. I mean, it was more like the whatever you call the forehead opening in the helmet, but he did, and then he got it in the way. It was a face mask.
But Carlton Davis also had 2 interceptions and 2 pass breakups. The stat sheet says 4 pass breakups, but that includes the interceptions. He had a tackle for loss. He had 4 tackles overall. I mean, when you have 2 interceptions in a game and both of them are as difficult as the interceptions they had were, you got to wind up on the boom list. And sure, the Patriots didn't score on offense off of a single turnover that they had, which is quite honestly hard to do. And maybe that's the most concerning part of their performance.
They did score on the pick 6. Short of that.
I said their offense didn't.
Got it. Just to be clear, they did score a touchdown off a turnover, but they literally needed their defense to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. But Carlton Davis, He left the game late with a head injury, so it's another week where we're tracking a cornerback's concussion protocol status, I would assume. But great game from Carlton Davis. Didn't have an interception all year. Came through big with 2 in the divisional round of the playoffs. And he makes my boom list.
He made my boom list as well. It was an interesting, it was a big weekend for you can't call that in the playoffs crowd. I thought his pass interference, like by the letter of the law, obviously was pass interference.
Right.
But in a game where they didn't call it on the other side, it took Stingley literally tackling Booty on a third down for them to throw the flag on Houston. Whereas I thought the one on Davis, you probably do have to call it, but I didn't think it was horrible given the way that the game was going. So I don't really demerit him that much for it. Like, you play the game that's being played. But yeah, he definitely made it. And like I said, the toe drag and knee down, the first one, I was like, well, he picked it, but there's no way he was in bounds.
Right.
And then you see the replay and you're like, his knee is right in bounds.
Yes.
Like, just really, I don't know how much of that a cornerback practices or if you're just sort of naturally that athletic.
By the hair on his chinny chin.
Yeah. But yeah, he definitely makes it. Do you want me to go next? You want to?
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's got to be Chaison Booty for.
Yep.
I've already stated one of the best catches I've ever seen. He makes it. Diggs probably more of an honorable mention.
75 yards.
Yeah, 32-yard touchdown against one of the 2 or 3 best corners in the league.
And
pretty cool.
He got some guff during the week.
Yeah.
For saying that he kind of downplayed the significance of the Texans defense, I would say. He didn't say anything overly egregious, but just said that they weren't that tough because they kind of know what they're doing. Said that they've got physical corners, but he's a physical receiver too, so that's a matchup that he'll take any day. And hey, when you say, yeah, they're physical cornerbacks, but I'm physical too, so that's a matchup that I'll take any day, you kind of have to catch 3 passes for 75 yards with one of the best playoff touchdown catches that Michael Hurley's ever seen.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
I would also add one of those dirt balls that I mentioned. It was a 2nd and 9 in the second quarter. He ran a comeback. I don't know if it was against Stingley. Got wide open and May just sort of threw it into the turf. So that stat total probably should have been 4 for 90, which looks a lot sexier. But I think he was really good.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Even like those other 2 catches they had were very strong. So he made my boom list as well.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
So
your turn.
My list was, if we're just doing 3, it was Carlton Davis, it was Chaison Booty, and it was Caleb Von Chaison. Because Caleb Von Chaison had a sack, but also on 3 of CJ Stroud's 4 interceptions, Caleb Von Chaison was in his face. So he provided pressure on 3 of the 4 interceptions. That's genuinely difficult to do. He had 7 pressures overall from PFF's charting, and fantastic signing by the Patriots coaching staff and front office. He's come through huge when it has mattered in these last 2 games. And this had to have been his most impactful performance of the season.
Yeah.
Even if he only had 1 sack versus I think he had 2 against the Chargers, but just providing that pressure, and especially the one, oh my God, that interception that Stroud threw to Marcus Jones, given the circumstances of Caleb Von Chaison just bearing down on him and Stroud just throwing that ball off his back foot to absolutely no one, was one of the more confounding mistakes I've seen in a football game in recent memory. But it doesn't happen if Caleb Von Chaison's not right there ready to smoke him.
That thing is 1st and 10 at the 25. You got to eat a sack once in a while, or throw it at Caleb Von Chaison's nose and see what happens. But I'm with you. That play was huge. He also, right after the Patriots turned it over, came up with a sack. And I think this will lead into my final boom. I was one of those mic'd up videos I watched from the Chargers week last week, and Vrabel was in Chaison's ear on the sideline and was like, "Hey, remember the way you had?" I'm paraphrasing, the way that you ran like crazy against the Dolphins last week. We need that now. And you remember he got his $500,000 incentive on a drive where he was on another level. Yes. And I think Vrabel sort of said, "I've seen what you can do. You got to do it." And that was a big one today. That was huge, which leads me to my third boom. which is Mike Vrabel, because I think that fourth down call early was huge, and I think we knew it at the time. It was, what were they on, the 33? Probably should have known this. 30. They were Michael, do your homework, buddy. They were on the 28. So you're looking at a 46-yarder. If you miss it, the gut punch and the deflation in the building and all that, kind of tough. You're just starting the game, and you go and don't just convert the fourth down. It's a great play. It's a great pass. It's a great catch. It all doesn't happen if you kick the field goal or even, lean conservative. That was a pretty aggressive play call in that spot. So I think it's indicative of the Vrabel year, the Vrabel season. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they're the best fourth down team in the league, or they have the most fourth down conversions. I don't know if they have the best percentage. And I just think that play was just obviously massive.
Yeah.
Big ones, just big ones in that spot. And not to talk about testicles too much, but that takes in a league where a third of the league gets fired as head coach, you got to be so confident in yourself in that. And that was sort of the perfect encapsulation of the Mike Vrabel season in New England.
No, it was huge. Vrabel certainly gets credit for that. One quick extra thing on Caleb on Chaison, who now has 4 sacks in his last 3 games. Caleb on Chaison was drafted in 2020. He is still not even 26 and a half years old. So, and real quick, Tyler Shuck, the Saints quarterback, he's a rookie.
Yeah.
Caleb Chaison is 2 months older than him. So that's not to say there's a lot of 26-year-old rookies coming out every year, but there's a decent amount of 24 and 25-year-old rookies now. Chaison's going to cost a decent amount of money to sign this offseason. I might still do it just because he's a guy whose best football might still be in front of him at this point.
Especially when you go to the other side, Harold Landry probably on the opposite end of that equation.
Right.
I don't know what kind of money you can save there. If you cut, there's a lot of dead money. If you cut him, you could trade him. I think that's probably what you're looking at if you're doing a calculation of what Chaison might cost. Do you know anyone in the Boston sports media who might have talked to Elliot Wolf about any of these signings recently that you want to promote?
That was me. You can go to thebostonherald.com, check out my story. I talked to Elliot Wolf this week, and he said a lot of interesting stuff. So I would encourage you guys to read that, because he talked about why the Patriots signed some of the guys that they did, talked about the Stephon Diggs signing, talked about the Milton Williams signing, talked about their draft. I thought it was illuminating.
Mm-hmm. Pretty good stuff. I'll give you credit for that. I want to run through, you win a playoff game, you got more than 3 booms. Can I give you some quick hitters and just you tell me if I'm stupid or not?
Well, you had the last one. You had Vrabel, so can I give one more?
Yeah. But you already did 3. We both did 3. So now
we both did 3.
We're just pouring it on.
So your honorary. Wait, was Vrabel one of your 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
I gave one to the punt unit. That's how cool. That's much of a football guy I am.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Yeah. Ramondre Stevenson gets an honorary boom for me because he's. I don't know. Good. I think we can do better than this. I tweeted out Clocky Racing, Ramondre Stevenson.
Delete that.
Like a clock killing Corey Dillon.
No, delete it.
But I mean, that was a great performance by him to eat up like 6 minutes worth of clock and then eat up the rest of the clock at the end of the game. So big shout out to Ramondre Stevenson. Not as big of a game as he's had in recent weeks, but still a very key performance. And he did it all apparently with one eye, because he missed about half the game with an eye injury.
Yeah, rubber pellets in the eye, possibly, maybe a finger.
Possibly, yeah.
But he had 3 carries in the first half for 25 yards? And then
I mean, he started off hot for sure.
Yeah, but still it finished with 4.4 yards per carry, which is good. So he definitely was up there. Diggs gets probably more than whatever's above an honorable mention. Like, he wasn't quite as good as the punt unit in not allowing a block punt, but the touchdown that we talked about, and then on the 6+ minute drive to really kill the game, he had that catch on 3rd down.
Yeah. He's
really good. He's just an exceptional pass catcher. And, is he still a superstar? Is he fantasy relevant? No. But when you got to move the chains and kill clock, like, that was such a big catch by him. So he makes my quick hitter list too.
Fair enough. Are we on
nope.
dooms?
I got more. Christian Gonzalez gets a special mark. He was He was
Forced
good.
fumble.
He
Yep.
was good. I'm sure someone out there complained about something.
Craig Woodson gets an honorary boom.
Yeah, and then lastly, we did discuss it. The run defense was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like every snap, someone like Barmore, Durden, someone was in there every snap, just disrupting everything they want to do. And the fumble, the Gonzalez strip, I don't know who it was. I give Woody Marks most of the blame, but whoever crushed that line back into the backfield, Marks was like a cartoon, like he had hit a wall, and you could hear like, and he had to reset himself, and that sort of led to a turnover. So the numbers speak for themselves. What was the Houston total rushing? 48 yards on 22 carries.
Yeah, and it was great.
14 carries for 17 yards for Woody Marks.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
1.2 yards per carry for Marks.
3.5 for Chubb. But he had 4 carries. Like it was truly in a game where your quarterback stinks. They had no running game to lean on, and I give a lot of credit to the way the front seven played.
They did not allow a rush to a running back over 8 yards. The running backs had 31 yards on 18 carries. Cade Stover averaged more yards per carry than Woody Marks, despite only being used on QB sneaks.
He was pretty good.
Stroud, 5.5 yards per carry, and he's someone who doesn't really like running the ball. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then just to finish our booms, just another shout out to the punt team. Not allowing any blocks. 8 punts.
Can you give a boom for not doing something that should not ever be expected out of you?
I just think a team as in a desperate spot like Houston was a threat to block one of your 8 punts. And I don't even know. He had a 55-yarder. He had 3 inside the 20. Like he might have done well punting. To me, it was just getting it off, and there was a lot of fair catches. So good job. Punt team, we'll probably lead with that as the headline for this podcast. Patriots punt team powers playoff victory.
Michael Hurley has insane first boom.
All right, you want a doom? You want to go to the dooms? We need more music and like transitions and all that. We need to up our production game.
That is true. Do you want me to give the first doom?
No,
you just gave like 15 booms in a row.
Yeah, I guess it's I'll be fair.
So I don't think you might not have this one on your list because this is one that came to me late. I hate to do it. Trevion Henderson's getting a doom from me.
He didn't necessarily get a doom. He looked 187% concerned about protecting the ball and not fumble, which resultingly led to no athleticism, no burst, no open field explosiveness, no jukes, not finding lanes. I think he looked like a rookie, terrified of fumbling, and what you saw was just the most uninspiring performance with the ball in his hands.
So I tweeted about Henderson pretty early in the game just because it was when the Patriots offense was really struggling. They couldn't get anything going, and Henderson was just running into a brick wall every single carry. And I think some people got a little bit mad about it, but basically what I tweeted is that Henderson is a boomer bust player, and we're seeing way too many busts right now.
Yeah, and it was before we knew, I think, that they announced the eye injury for Stevenson. And it was
Might have been, yeah.
Why is he not in the game right now?
Right. So but there's a slight issue when Stevenson's not in there, when you have to rely on Henderson to provide what Stevenson usually does, because he's not doing it right now. And Henderson is a fantastic player when you're getting those 50+ yard runs every 2 to 3 games or whatever. You can't count on them every game. But when the alternative to a 50+ yard run is him getting literally no gain on half of his carries, I don't know, or like a loss.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not enough. And I think that's probably the type of player he is right now. So it's not necessarily even his fault. But when you're averaging, what do you average? 2.2 yards per carry, something like that? 2.1 yards per carry.
12 for 25,
6 yard long. He had 1 catch for -2 yards. So he had 23 yards total on 13 touches. It's just, they're not getting enough from him right now. And I just wanted to throw that one out there before we get into the obvious ones, because he unfortunately was an ineffective player for them.
Yeah. And I think it's similar to me to the Drake May fumbles, where it was really a bad issue that you had and you overcame it. And I think the biggest example was, I had this one written down. It was 1st and 10. pass to Stevenson, nice little play, got 9 yards. The next play was Stevenson's 20-yard run. And you're like, Ramondre's, popping.
Yeah.
He comes off the field, Henderson for -2 yards, pass to Henderson for -2 yards, and it's 3rd and 14. That set up the Diggs catch before the 4th and 1 touchdown. So it's like you overcame it. It didn't kill you momentum-wise or whatever, but in that moment, you're kind of rolling. You need to keep it going, and he wasn't able to. I wouldn't necessarily elevate it to the concern that you pushed forward. I think this is where some coaching is going to factor in, and it's like, yes, you have to protect the ball, but you also have to play football. It didn't look like he was playing football. You know what I mean? It looked like he was just like anyone out there would be if you just threw a guy in the stands and said, "Don't fumble or we'll kill you." That's kind of the performance. I think you need to somehow find a way to tap into what he's capable of, and we'll see if they can do that on the road.
And there's a comment. I love that the media is asking if Henderson can play football. That worked out great last time that happened. I'm not saying that he can't play football.
No, we've seen him do incredible things.
We've seen him doing amazing things.
Not today, though.
But, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it does feel like it's been a few games now of this from Henderson. My memory is not always the best because I'm just so focused on one game at a time.
You're just locked in, bro.
It was 3 yards per carry against the Chargers. He did have the 2 touchdowns against the Dolphins, averaged 4.1 yards per carry, but that was a big Stevenson game.
He had a good end to the year.
He was good against the Jets.
Yeah.
Baltimore, 5 carries for 3 yards.
Huge game against the Bills before that. So no, I don't.
Then the real stretch of games for him was really Cleveland through Buffalo, which was fantastic. So I think that's why I'm holding him to a higher standard, where when he does have a game like this, you can throw him on the doom list because we know what he can do.
Yeah.
We know how impactful he can be. But those first down carries that he was getting was putting the Patriots offense in a hole.
For sure. And I think, that's why I don't necessarily think it's a big picture, long-term issue if you can get him back to that, but we'll see if they can, and if you can't, then it is, because let's say Stevenson gets dirt in his eye next week again, and that's who you're left with. So I go to my top doom. We talked about it quite a bit, but Drake May's still, like, 4 fumbles is too many.
Yeah, he was on my doom list too, obviously.
Not for his passing, despite some misfire. The guy threw 3 touchdowns against, one of the best defenses in the league, maybe the best defense in the league. They ranked the Texans defense gave up they gave up some touchdowns this year. They gave up 20 passing touchdowns. So it wasn't completely unheard of, but just that's I said it during the game. At that point, the only pathway to a Texans victory is if Drake May turns it over like this.
Right.
And Will Campbell jumped on 2 of them. One of the strip sacks was technically his fault, but I'm still putting some on May for being in there. Like I said, it just can't happen. It's simple to say, but they got to find a way to acknowledge the pass rush you're going against. If you're going against Doug Kyed and Mike Hurley on the edges, take a little extra time back there. You got it. But
I thought you were going to say get rid of the ball fast.
No, we stink. But get it. When you're going against 2 elite pass rushers, it's just got to. The clock has to be ticking, and it's just not there right now. And you're going on the road in a crazy environment where that crowd is gonna know their only way to win is to get the ball out of you. It's, to me, the biggest challenge of his MVP season is what does he do next week after a couple weeks of this?
I think it's fair to say that Drake May, in totality, played poorly in this game. Like, even accounting for his passing, accounting for the fumbles.
I'd push back. I think poorly is too strong. I think he had some poor throws, but he had some great throws.
He had a negative 0.25 EPA per play. So negative EPA. He had a negative 5.4 completion percentage over expected, and that's even with the completions to Diggs and Booty. His QBR per RBSDM is 23.5. So I think that...
All right, nerd. I'm a counting stat guy. 3 touchdowns, baby.
I think that probably factors in the Hail Mary interception. So you don't count that as heavily. But overall, when you fumble 4 times and lose 2 of them, you can't have it. So when the fumble count is higher than the touchdown count, it's an overall poor performance.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it an overall poor performance because of like the highs were high enough to elevate it, and I don't know that you win the game without those. I think the
I just don't think
touchdown.
the highs were as high as the highs against the Chargers when it was already like a slightly suspect performance.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, there were real blemishes today. I'm not trying to argue that, but I don't know. The touchdown to Diggs was preceded by the first pass of that drive. He waited patiently. Booty got around the linebacker, and he hit the in cut there for, I think it was a pretty big gain. And then the next play, he fired that thing into Booty again on the slant.
Mm-hmm.
They picked up 18, and then the touchdown to Diggs. So it's like some of the throws, the touchdown to Douglas, just like the fastball was firing. And I just think on a day when
he's a fantastic quarterback, obviously.
When weather's and everyone's front of mind and the defense and all that, I think there were enough highs to say like, all right, you see it. Wasn't a great game overall, but I saw enough positives to not list Drake May totally on the booms, just the fumbles. That's
really flip-flopped, snip-snapped on this one because I was the one saying I wasn't concerned about him in general. And you said there was some concern about the fumbles. And now I'm putting on my...
Drake May's fumbles are on my dooms. Drake May in totality.
We're both walking like a fine line in our Drake May criticism.
When we're elite sports commentators like us, sometimes you really got to dig into the minutia. Do you want a different doom, or is it your turn?
I think it's my turn. Will Campbell. It is what it is. He's a rookie. He's going against two of the best pass rushers in the league. This stuff happens, but I don't think you can come out of this game and not put him on a doom list, because for as weird as this game was and as poorly as the Patriots played at times, there actually weren't a ton of obvious dooms, in my opinion.
Sure.
But Campbell goes on mine.
Okay. I'm just checking because PFF probably gave him like 150 grade. Just because that seems to happen.
The last time I checked, I think it's down now. It was around a 46, and he had allowed 5 pressures. He was good in the run game. I think they graded him, but
sure,
as a pass blocker, he did struggle. Yeah.
All right.
And he admitted it after the game.
Yeah. You won't get an argument from me. I do think, you mentioned it. It's a tough job. And I think maybe the outcry I saw today does tend to discount that it's the hardest job in sports.
I thought it was silly that people were calling for Fedarian Low.
Yeah, I didn't see that. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it's such a difficult job that sometimes you lose. And today he was losing out there. But I mentioned my other doom. I'll put Zach Cora on the list because there's too much blitzing. You shouldn't blitz that much when you can straight up play defense. And I know a game when they had 4 picks in the first half, to call out the defensive play caller is probably uncouth. But it's just, I would say most of what Houston was able to do on offense was because you blitzed unnecessarily.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think those are my 3 dooms. So
yeah, I had Will Campbell on my list, and what was it? No, yeah, we got the dooms. You're right. It was hard. It was hard to individually list a ton of dooms. You're right.
Yeah.
Good point by you.
So yeah, not a lot of negative performances. We've already talked about Jarrett Stidham a little bit, but it's downright funny that that's who the Patriots have to play in this game. I mean, one thing I will say.
Yeah. What you got?
Jarrett Stidham's kind of got the right to feel like this is a revenge game for him, because as bad as the quarterback situation was for the Patriots after Tom Brady, the fact that he's still he never got a chance in that Cam Newton year felt a little wild.
Did it?
Yeah, Cam Newton sucked that year. He couldn't throw the ball.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Stidham's had some moments since then. He's a pretty highly paid backup for a reason.
Go on. I'll let you go on. Go ahead.
I would have given him a chance in that year. That there was a lost year. Once they weren't making the playoffs, Cam Newton was not the future quarterback of the Patriots. That's not to say that Jarrett Stidham was either, but he lost his backup job. They put Brian Hoyer in there as a starter, and then Stidham just never got a true chance that season. On the since then, he's had 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He's 1-3 as a start. I don't know. I mean, like, I personally would have liked to have seen him that year.
Yeah. I mean, I just realized I'm trying to get his 2020 preseason stats. There was no 2020 preseason, but just to lay out what you're looking at, and I guess athletes do find issues to rebel against. So I'm sure he will have that. Granted, the Patriots and Bill Belichick's quarterback evaluation in the late 2010s, not great. The track record pretty subpar. So maybe what you're saying is dead on accurate. But I would argue the fact that since leaving the Patriots, he has thrown 149 passes, 0 of which have come since the end of the 2023 season. He's had opportunity to have some sort of footing in the league.
And he's still in the league. How many passes has Cam Newton thrown since he left the Patriots?
I don't want to have a Cam Newton, Jared Stidham debate because I'm talking about the game next week where the Patriots play a guy that hasn't thrown a pass in the NFL since December of 2023. What was going on? Like, let's Pats chat it.
Yeah.
December of 2023. So Jared Stidham's last pass in December of 2023 was week 18.
Jones was being declared the emergency third quarterback with Rourke.
Pardon?
What was his first name? Nathan Rourke?
Yeah, that sounds right. But so it was Bill Belichick's last game in the snow. The Jets come. Matthew Slater's last game. It's snowing. It's yucky. The Patriots lose to the Jets for the first time in 100 years. That game feels like decades ago. And that was the last time Jared Stidham threw a pass in the NFL. Not because he's been injured, not because he's been on vacation, not because he retired and came back, but because he hasn't gotten on the field to throw a pass. So,
well, yeah, the Broncos drafted a quarterback in the first round.
Sure. There's other teams, if he was good, that would come calling. Like I don't think there's any concern about what Stidham can do.
No, I don't think so either. My case was that he should have started a game in 2020.
Yeah. All right. We're doing two different podcasts. You're right. Sure.
Yeah.
He should have started that game in Kansas City when Cam had COVID.
Yes.
They started Hoyer. Hoyer thought they had a timeout before halftime. And they didn't. And then Stidham started the second half.
That was crazy.
I remember because I asked Belichick after the game, I'm like, was there a miscommunication where Hoyer thought there was a timeout? And he was like, no. And I was like, so when he went to call timeout, it wasn't a coaching communication, like he knew, and he just, and I was like, I think I got the answer.
Yeah.
Anyways, Stidham should be a quarterback you can devour, destroy,
he should absolutely
pick off, confuse. Think about how, as much as I got on core for the blitzing, think about how much they confused Justin Herbert last week. Been in the league almost as long as Stidham. And played a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
You should be able to, even in a road environment, you should be able to go out there and feast defensively.
No, it's true. I want to have a conversation about the 2025 Patriots. And
good. Not 2020.
There's still a lot of people watching us, so I'm a little bit, I don't want to anger people too much. Because we talked about it a little bit earlier. The Patriots 1000% deserve to be in the place that they are right now. They are in the AFC Championship game. They are one win over Jarrett Stidham away from playing in the Super Bowl. And they deserve it 1000%. They have overcome the schedule questions because they have beat 2 playoff teams in the playoffs now. What would the line be in a game in a neutral site, because that's the only site that they could play in, between, let's say, the 2016 Patriots and the 2025 Patriots?
I think the 2016 Patriots would be 8-point favorites over the current day Patriots. However, can I however it right off the bat? Because you asked me a question. Are you going to hit me right back, or can I however it?
No, go ahead.
There's nothing even close to resembling the realm of a team like the 2016 Patriots in the NFL this year. Regardless,
see, that's the thing. Yes.
Regardless of the Patriots' place in 2025, there's a vortex of not so good.
Right.
Swirling around.
And based on the entirety of the NFL, the Patriots, the 2025 Patriots, completely belong where they are right now.
And I'd add this to your smorgasbord of information and facts. There were 7 playoff teams in the American Football Conference this year. If you were to rank them from most difficult strength of schedule to least difficult strength of schedule, the 2 teams with the easiest schedules will be playing each other next week in Denver.
Yeah.
And I did the research on this earlier in the year. That happens quite a bit.
Right.
So it's not like
crazy.
In your mind, you're like, oh, battle tested, iron sharpens iron. And that's true to an extent. Like, I think the Patriots in 2016 losing at home to the Seahawks made them a Super Bowl team in many ways. They had an exposed flaw. Like the 2017 probably could have used a game like that where they, took it on the chin. I think that is sort of more anecdotal than it is factual, because I looked it up. More often than not, the teams that make the Super Bowl had much easier schedules than the rest of the conference.
Yeah, it sets them up well in the playoffs, gives them home field advantage, does all those things. So my greater point here is that it feels weird now that the Patriots are 1 game away from beating Jarrett Stidham, from being in the Super Bowl, because this Patriots team has so far exceeded expectations than anyone possibly could have expected. And when you look at them in a vacuum, they don't appear as good as the 2014 Patriots, the 2016 Patriots, the 2018 Patriots, the 2004 Patriots, whatever you want to say. But they're here and they deserve it. And it's a weird year for the NFL overall. But they've overcome everything that everyone's questioned about them. And I still feel like, even though they are 1 game away, I haven't completely wrapped my mind around the fact that this team very well could be heading to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to need to start wrapping my mind around that, because if they do, I'm going to be in San Francisco for a week. But it's pretty wild.
Yeah. They got a crazy street there. Not many people know about this. First of all, you get on the trolley car. That's what all the locals do. They call it Frisco. So when you walk around, they call it Frisco. They ride
San Fran. They love San Fran too.
They ride the cable cars all over town. They love it. And then this is really a inside tip. It's a street with a bunch of zigzaggy sort of turns down a hill. It's nuts. You should check it out. But I likened this one. I did this before. It's not a perfect comparison. It feels more like the Patriots 96 season than it does like any of those dynasty ones, where it's like, where the hell did this come from?
Absolutely.
You had some pieces in place. It was obviously different. You had an established quarterback.
I would imagine 85 felt this way too.
Missed that year personally, but yeah, probably kind of out of the blue. So it's more like that. But I think it's more like the Patriots schedule was so easy because there's a lot of crap in the league this year. And ultimately, you're right. They overcame
every team
it.
is flawed.
So
and the Patriots might be the least flawed right now.
That's an interesting. I mean, the Seahawks look pretty damn good,
but they still have Sam Darnold at quarterback.
They sure do. That's a good point by you. The Rams look vulnerable.
Their defense is not great.
Their offense is sort of sputtering too. That wasn't the best. I don't
know if I mentioned this before. My favorite bit on the internet is the Rams fans who say that Matthew Stafford doesn't play in a dome.
We did that. We podcasted that.
Okay, good. Fools.
But yeah, I think the Bills had a tougher schedule than the Patriots.
Right.
They didn't make it to the championship game. The Jaguars had a tougher schedule. We thought they were better. They didn't make it out of the wild card round. So at this point, I think it truly doesn't matter. And you make the Super Bowl. Here's where I think it does matter. Okay. You go and win the Super Bowl, you get a banner in your stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I would just say if they make the Super Bowl and lose by 14 points to the Seahawks or whatever, you probably don't say, oh my God, they made the Super Bowl. Unbelievable, crazy. Because you do recognize that the path was, I don't want to say easy, but it was not the most difficult path. If you look at what you're running into, which again, doesn't discredit it, but I think if you're just evaluating the team and what can be next year and going forward, you probably don't get overly hung up, because the history of Super Bowl losers the next year was really bad.
It's true.
I remember doing that research in 2018 when the Patriots made it back there after losing the Super Bowl in 2017.
Yeah.
It was very rare for a team to even make the playoffs, let alone win a playoff game, let alone make it back. So, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're getting ahead of ourselves. But I think that's where it is, where it's like when you're assessing the whole year, obviously an incredible year. you're not taking away from that, but you're not saying like, well, you won the AFC, you'll probably do it again. You know, like there's going to need to be building.
No,
but
100%.
if you win the Super Bowl off this, no, they don't put on the banner in the Lombardi Trophy what your strength of schedule was.
No,
I don't think.
it's very true.
I have to check. Maybe on the bottom.
You'll have to check the back. It might be on the back.
Speaking of 2017, though, did you see Nick Foles' tweet?
I did.
Pretty rude Nick Foles tweet.
From the top rope, as they say.
Yeah, I can read it for anyone that missed it. For anyone that's not following Nick Foles, put out a tweet and he said, well, he's really posting his podcast a lot tonight. So he's farming.
A podcast.
Turns out he's farming the engagement, but he said, note for the Broncos and their fans. I know it has been an emotional 24 hours. I feel for Bo and the team, and I'm sending prayers for a strong recovery. Deep throat clear, you could tell. A positive note going into the game versus the Patriots is that they struggle against backup QBs in championship type games. Fair enough, to the victor goes the spoils. Spiking the football.
If I were to quote tweet that when I saw it, my quote tweet was going to be, it's a rude thing to say about Eli Manning.
Dang. Hall of Famer potentially. Nick Foles, I would say the difference going into 2017. First of all, he started 3 games that year. And he had thrown 1,386 passes in the NFL. Yeah. So different scenario, but good tweet. And we celebrate those here on this podcast.
It's true. Is it time for completion or interception talk?
So we should let people behind the curtain. Actually, before we do that, I have one last thing. And this I saw on Twitter. It's not, so I'm kind of borrowing the take. But if you noticed after the Bills lost, there was a ton of national media and everyone being like, man, you got to feel for Drake. There was a segment on NFL Network where I forget who it was. It was like
Josh Allen.
What did I say? Drake May. Yeah, Josh Allen. It was like, man, you got to feel for Josh Allen. Like you hate to see him go out like this. And someone brought up a good point. It's like all these people that are saying that are the same people who crushed the lady in Jacksonville for being nice to Liam Cohen for a minute. And it's like, it's a good point because anyone that took, that was kind of weird. Deeper than that,
right?
Expose themselves to this sort of level of foolishness. So that did stand out when Josh Allen got a lot of national. It was like a funeral, and it was like he lost the football game.
Yeah, I mean, and I still say, not that this is Bill's chat, but the lateral that Josh Allen just threw backwards at the end of the first half, and Sean McDermott's decision to even run that play in the first place that led to a field goal from the Broncos.
Not a tight game or anything, right?
Was the difference in the game. And I know that Bills fans don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about officiating. But if Josh Allen doesn't throw that ball back to listen, there's been a lot of dumb plays and I'm a prisoner of the moment, but
pretty dumb.
What the hell? That was like the most confounding play I've seen this playoffs, at least.
He did that as a rookie in Houston in the playoffs. Remember? I think it was overtime or fourth quarter. Yeah. It was just as dumb. And you thought
that one was at least to someone though, right?
It was. He missed.
There was literally no one there. There was offensive linemen behind him.
Yeah. One of the dumber plays.
And it was the difference in the game.
But Josh, you got to feel bad for him. You got to feel him. I will let you set up because to let people behind the curtain, Doug and I felt as though we had no proper outlet anymore as rule understanders, and we had to just text each other.
Yeah.
In an echo chamber of sorts, which happens sometimes when it's a burden to know the rules of the sport we love so much. So I will let you, because I think your tweet encapsulated it very perfectly, and your example encapsulated it perfectly.
Yeah, so, I ventured out into the waters of Twitter to state my case on this. And
you got zesty with someone, I forget who. You got real zesty.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, I'll find it. But set up. We're talking about the interception, the Brandon Cooks non-catch.
So he didn't survive the ground. He landed after catching the ball, but did not ever establish possession because he landed and the ball popped out of his arms and the other McMillan intercepted it.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't understand how anyone who's not a Bills fan doesn't get how it was an interception, because I feel like almost every game, or maybe not every game, but every week at least, there's a receiver who catches a pass, lands on the ground, and the ball comes out and it's an incompletion. And that's literally exactly what happened on this play, except there was another guy there who intercepted the pass. Mm-hmm. So if he lands and the ball just flies up in the air and hits the ground, it's a clear incompletion. Obvious. But since there was another fella there to catch the ball, it was an interception. And listen, I think I want to give people credit, or I want to believe that people are smarter than they really are. I think people like got trapped by screenshots, but you can't in that play because it's so bang bang that you can't even really watch a slow-mo clip of it because you only really see what happens on the live full speed version. When he catches the ball, falls to the ground, ball pops out. Immediately, when he hits the ground, the ball pops out.
That's why the example
you can put a screenshot out there of him laying on the ground with the ball in his arms or whatever, but it doesn't mean shit because that's the moment that the ball is actually coming out. So yes, my example was Chaison against the Ravens. Yeah, you can screenshot yourself to death of him holding the ball on the ground while being contacted by a defender, but that doesn't mean that he's caught the ball. So yeah, Brandon Cooks caught the ball.
If Marlon Humphrey had caught that on the bobble, it would have been an interception.
Yes.
Not a catch.
No.
Not a catch. Down, play over.
And people seem to have also tricked themselves either in the slow-mo or the screenshots into thinking that there was some sort of struggle between Brandon Cooks and McMillan.
It was all one
motion.
There
wasn't. The ball just immediately transferred into McMillan's arms because Cooks never had possession of the ball.
That's the bigger thing, because survive the ground could be confused because they technically removed that exact language, but they still have the same essence of it, which is basically a catch is ABC.
Yes.
Possession, 2 feet, and then the third thing, which is necessary for a catch to be completed, is an act common to the game, whether that's a third step, whether that's avoiding a defender, whether that's extending the ball forward, all these things. Like that's where they fixed, quote unquote, fixed the Jesse James play, because I felt like I was insane on the Jesse James play when he clearly didn't possess the ball and then had the ground break up his pass like a defensive back. So that third act never happened. You had a ball, you had 2 feet, sorta, that he might have lost it on the second foot. So there was certainly no third foot. There was no third step, and it was gone. So it's the hardest thing. And there was another one, the Xavier Hutchinson drop today to end the game.
Right.
Deep shot, lying on the ground, ball's on his chest. He's touched. Is the play over? No, you have to finish catching the ball.
Yes.
And the same thing, I don't know if that was Davis or Gonzalez, whoever was there. If he had taken it out of his hands or caught it on the bobble, it would have been an interception, not a catch down by contact, 1st and 10. It's just so basic. I feel like I'm nuts.
So, yes. Do you know who else thought it was so basic
Brandon Cooks.
In the moment? Brandon friggin' Cooks.
He knew he didn't catch it.
He knew he did not catch that ball. He did not react for 1 millisecond.
Yeah.
As if he believed that should have been a catch. It shouldn't have been a catch.
I would do this. There's 2 things. You could just go to Photoshop, do a magnetic lasso around McMillan, Control A, delete. Take him out of the picture.
Yes.
If Cooks does all that,
he's still getting rid of that ball.
It's an incompletion. And put a receiver on the sideline, toe tap, ball, falls down. He has to finish catching it.
Yes.
That's the third act in that case, is possessing it through the ground.
Yes.
If you go down and you drop it, it's not a catch. And you factor that in. I know there was the Mims catch. I don't know how many steps Mims took, 3 or 4
steps.
It just seems so basic. And
even on that one, I know people were up in arms about how like the ball might have moved when he went to the ground.
He already had it. It wasn't.
He had it, and also, if the ball moves, like if you have possession, then the ball's still allowed to move as long as you still.
Then you got into it. Got weird too. I think this what exposed what was behind it was the complaints about the pass interferences, which I'll grant you the first one.
Yeah.
You probably don't want that in that spot in a playoff game. However, it was 2 extra yards from the Joey Bosa, idiotic roughing the passer.
Yes.
And I think at least it was holding. He held the receiver all the way up the field before the pass interference. And then What really showed it was people that thought the Trey White pass interference shouldn't have been called. I mean, you can't.
Right.
Well, you can if you're Marlon Humphrey in Baltimore against Kayshon Boutte, but generally speaking, you can't maul a receiver as he's trying to catch it.
Yeah.
And the fact that a lot of people, like nationally, Dan Orlovsky, all those people being like, what a travesty this is, the bad officiating. And it's like, you just wanted the Bills to win, and that's fine. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted the Bills to win. I wanted the Bills Patriots AFC Championship game.
Would have preferred to not have to go to Denver.
I don't even care about that. I want the spectacle of the Bills trying to get to a Super Bowl and the Patriots being the team in the way. It would have been like, so if you want my rooting interest in the game, I wanted the Bills to win. But at no point did I think, and of all people to say this, Doug, of all people to say this, at no point did I think, wow, this is bad officiating.
Yeah, and I'm as critical as officials as I, but when the play happened live, no one really, at least on my timeline, was even really complaining about it until after the Bills lost. And I didn't think twice about it. I truly didn't in the moment. I did not think twice.
Yeah. And probably overtime shouldn't have happened. There was a hold on the right tackle of the Bills on the 3rd and 10 incompletion before the game-tying field goal. That forced overtime would have been a pretty tough kick. There was, you saw the screenshot a million times of what looked like a hold at the edge of the end zone. Would have been dicey. So I don't think there's, and the fact that it was compounded, you said people in the moment, I would say the head coach, calling it what it is, the head coach being a moron, like just acting like a bozo. And that speech at the podium was tough. Like, you thought, in his mind, he's like, this is going to be sick. It was not. I'm standing up for Buffalo, damn it. Tough to watch, cringy. And then to go after and call a reporter when you're on the plane home and say it wasn't even close, it was a catch. Maybe he's playing to the fan base because they're going to buy it.
Yeah.
But it reeked of a guy desperate to excuse another playoff failure on his part.
Yeah.
I think
the real
a lot of
tough
people
scene,
did buy it. A lot of people did buy it.
The real tough scene was that, listen, I have stated my opinion overall that I like when players speak their truth about officiating, or coaches.
Like Deion Dawkins tweeting it. Hell yeah, brother.
Mike Vrabel after the Bills game, I was in support of that. Sean McDermott after this game, still in support of it. I overall disagree with you. I'm glad that he's doing that because it makes him more interesting. And that's truly all I really want out of coaches, is for them to at least speak their truth about these things. But when Vrabel criticized the officiating after the Week 15 loss to the Bills, I saw, and maybe I'm just too online, but I saw Bills reporters and I saw basically every single Bills fan in the world calling that loser behavior, that after they lost the game, he blamed officiating.
Are you saying
you can't really have it both ways when McDermott does the same thing or when you're doing the same thing? McDermott even said after that, someone asked him about Vrabel's comments. He said, we go by the officiating. We go by the officials. It didn't seem like it after yesterday's game.
Two things. One is, it seems like you're saying there's hypocrisy among sports fan bases and coaches. And that, I don't know if I'm ready to accept that. I actually have a career potential idea where I go into politics and I look at one side and I point out a hypocritical thing they've done or said. And then I call them out and then they're like, what? No. So that is a part of the whole spectacle of it all. I get it. But what I will say does confuse matters is that many other instances are officiated inconsistently and sometimes flat out wrong. The Marcus Jones interception that wasn't against the Bills being a big one. And the Devontae Adams catch today literally was the exact same thing.
Oh, I disagree that it was exactly the same, but yeah.
All right, it wasn't exactly the same, but he didn't do the third act. It was 2 feet and then the ball was ripped out. He's going down.
Is the third act him fighting for the ball? Because at least in that circumstance, he was fighting for the ball. Brandon Cooks was not fighting for the ball. Brandon Cooks just lost the ball.
Yeah. No, you can make that case.
Yeah.
But I still, it wasn't explained well enough, I would guess. I would say on the on Terry McCauley, the rules.
I don't even need to get into the dirt and grime of the Devontae Adams catch because I so strongly believe that it was an interception by McMillan.
Yeah, it's sort of a no-brainer, and it is weird that it elevated. But I think all those factors played in. I think a lot of people, we might have talked about this on the podcast. Like, what is America rooting for? They were rooting for the Bills to go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And they didn't get it. And it's just it's a weird, the fact again.
And that was before they even knew that the Broncos didn't have the quarterback.
And the fact that people tried to argue that Tre'Davious White didn't commit pass interference sort of lays bare everything else that you're seeing from the misunderstanding there.
Yep. It was an interception. I'll leave it at that. We will do a podcast.
Do you think the Bills window has closed? I say no, because Josh Allen, for all his idiocy, like, is unbelievable. No. Sometimes even in the loss, I thought he was just such a powerhouse that as long as he's up and running, they'll be a contender.
Their window's not closed. He is that good. See, my opinion on Josh Allen is so good that in basically every single game, Josh Allen is good enough to make up for all of the weird, dumb mistakes that Josh Allen makes in the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
But like, it's not, that's on it. Like, that feels like a backhanded compliment, but it's genuinely not, because like he can do whatever he wants in the first half of games. He's so good. He can still come back in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And the supporting cast we've talked about, not that great. I just flew through the comments and the only one I saw was saying we're not that smart because we picked Houston. I don't know, but I didn't pick Houston. I don't think you picked Houston.
I didn't pick Houston. I picked the Patriots to win 2017.
I picked
that was my comment about
I picked them
smart
to win 20
people on ESPN.
Got it. Okay, they're not smart. Right. Yeah, but I still think they're smart. It was an odd thing. Don't you think?
Smart.
Don't you think?
I don't know who the rest of the crew was, but Mina Kimes is definitely smart.
Marcus Spears, Dan Orlovsky, who's declining on the smart ranking. Who was hosting? Was it Hannah Storm? She's still there?
Yeah. Dan Orlovsky posting screenshots of the interception.
Yeah. And even
I'm glad my cousin Steve Palazzolo.
Oh, he was good. He had a good example.
Shot a fire across the bow.
But so
phrases.
Richard Sherman had a tweet about it, and Orlovsky used it as sort of evidence. Like, here's what a Hall of Fame corner thinks. But if you look at Sherman's replies, it was very matter of fact. It was like, yeah, but they usually give it to the offense, which is true. In this case, there was not simultaneous possession.
No, there wasn't. That's the thing that I was losing my mind over. There was never a point where they were both possessing the ball.
I agree.
It fell out of it. He lost possession when he fell to the ground.
Yeah.
And I mean, the one that really pissed me off was when people started comparing it to the non-fumble whatever for the Texans today. I don't know. Was it Higgins that he had a knee down?
Yeah, he took steps. He took
multiple steps. That was a crossing route over the middle that he caught the ball and ran with it, and then was down before they could force a fumble. These people don't even understand the difference between a fumble and an incompletion.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a sport we all watch quite a bit, and a simple rule. It's not the Des Bryant catch. It's not the Calvin Johnson incompletion in the end zone. It's not that complicated.
No,
it's pretty simple, but it was pretty crazy. But it made for good content. There's a lot of content.
Well, it's made for like 20 minutes worth of content on this podcast.
Well, we had to get it out. So we're sorry to anyone we offended, but hopefully we explained why this was a simple play that should not have been controversial. And you know what? We are biased. We're always defending the officials.
Yeah, I'm big. I wish I had like an official's hat behind me or something.
I did a joke tweet today. It was Gonzalez up the sideline. I forget who was even the intended receiver. It might have been Hutchinson, and it was an incompletion. And the official was reaching at his belt, and it was like, oh, it looked like he was looking for the flag, and then decided, I can't find it. Someone brought up, he was probably stopping the clock because they have like the backup clock on their thing, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense. But like, fire tweet, click, bang, thank you very much. But a lot of people seem to think it was really what happened, which I think speaks to the larger issue of trust and officiating. So I get it; it's all in there.
Yeah.
I just don't think this was the basis of a great case for anyone.
No, I agree. All right, well, this has been our longest podcast yet, but I think it's deserved because the Patriots are playing the AFC Championship next week, and who the hell would have ever predicted this? We will do a podcast midweek where we will actually talk about the Broncos more than we did in this one. Felt like we were probably getting a little bit over our skis a little bit by doing that in this one.
I'm going to make a rule. We won't discuss Stidham's place on the 2020 Patriots in midweek. Yeah, I won't.
We won't.
Maybe you will.
We won't. I still think you should have been the backup over Brian.
Jared Stidham in the AFC Championship game, Doug. What a joke.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Vrabel 9332 says, see you, love you guys. We love you too. If you made it this far, we love you.
Agree.
DJM says, please do it at night. I don't know what he's
personal.
referring to, but it's the best time to do it.
Give a thumbs up, Doug. Your camera gives all the thumbs up, and that's a good way to end it.
It's not doing it.
Wow. End of an era. What are you going to do?
All right. We will talk to you guys probably Wednesday night, but I don't know what Michael's schedule is. Goodbye.
Bye.